Hello and welcome to the 27th, the world's first and only student-teacher podcast on the MCU, but we're changing it up once again. We got rid of the students, and we're just going to have a teacher joining us today to talk all things Hawkeye. As we wrap up our look at the Hawkeye series, we have our wonderful and talented librarian and many more things. You do many things around here. Miss Laverde, welcome back.
Oh, thanks for having me back. I miss my partner in crime, Mr. Sweeney, because usually I'm here with him, but I'm guessing he was busy.
Not available today. He's a busy man around here.
Yes.
Talk about someone who does a lot of things around here. He is at the tippy top of that list. It's been a while since we've recorded, you and I, but then also we've been on a bit of a hiatus between spring break, some health issues that,
Yes.
there have
For
been.
all of
So
us.
we're back. I'm excited because we've made some additions to our Funkos here. So my youngest son, Owen, had his communion, so he got some money, and he wanted to go buy some Funkos. So he got Thanos here,
I
which
like
is a
the
good one. I
Thanos.
borrowed that. That will be going back. And then, speaking of health issues, yes, recently hospitalized, yours truly. So wonderful students. Specifically, I want to shout out Annie Hahn from my Band 8 class, who got this awesome Captain America Endgame Funko. And your edition has been here all
My
year
little
as
present
well.
there for you. I'm trying to figure out
I feel like maybe
How
they
is-
should be next to each other almost.
how
How is this
that-
an Endgame?
Yeah.
That's a good
Like,
question.
why
The
is
box
there
says
water?
Endgame. He is breaking out of the ice. He's got the hammer.
He has the hammer and the shield is broken.
Yeah, so
And
that
I see
would.
that, but the ice
But why the
thing, I
ice?
don't get the ice.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll take a look at
I have
the
to
box.
rewatch
see what it-
Endgame also. It's been a while.
It's funny going back now, like a year, kind of since the end of season 1 of the 27. I want to go back. Like I want to go watch Infinity War again. I want to go watch Endgame
Infinity
again.
War is a hard watch.
It's so good though.
I guess. It just makes me so sad.
It,
But now that
but
I know
that's,
how overall it ends, I'm
But
okay.
that's what I liked about it. It was like raw emotion
Yes.
from Infinity War.
Leaves you there like, oh my God, it's supposed to have a happy ending.
Nope.
What is wrong with you
Nope.
people?
Well, before I can go back and watch all those, I need to,
We need to
finish
do
our season. Here we have Hawkeye. We had, we still haven't talked about Quantum. We haven't talked about any of the new movies from this year. We into Wakanda Forever. We into Quantumania, and of course, Guardians 3 just came out,
Well,
which
did
I've
you see
heard
any
good
of
things
them?
about. No, I haven't seen it. Oh no, I saw Wakanda Forever. I did
so,
not
like,
see.
I didn't see Wakanda Forever in the theater. I waited for
When it got to
when it
Disney
got to
Plus.
Disney
That's why
Plus.
I'm waiting on Quantumania, which I think is next week.
and no lie, it was hard to watch Wakanda Forever. It made me
Because of
really-
Chadwick.
Yeah, it made me really
Just in that whole
sad.
first scene with
Yeah.
like the funeral and like when I saw it, it was just I thought about how real that was for the actors. That like that probably was like an
Yes.
actual funeral for them. That it
Yes.
wasn't just this
their,
scene in a
their
movie.
closure and
yeah.
just reading about the actor and who he was and what an amazing actor he was.
Yeah.
And what a loss it was. And I remember when he died very vividly because it was during COVID.
Yeah.
And my son came into the bedroom and he's like, Black Panther died. And I'm like, no. Like, he's young. He's young. He's young. He's younger than me. That makes him very young.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think you misheard it. And I looked it up, and it was all over everywhere. And he goes to me, yeah, 2020 really sucks.
Yeah. It's just
And I'm
another
like, that
mark.
was just like, it encompassed everything.
Yeah.
It's like, yes.
And
yes,
then
it
also
does.
with him, just like the bravery or the humility, whatever it's like to have a terminal cancer diagnosis and just not share it.
And
to
not
just
share
like
it
live
and
with it
continue and give back to the community and continue to work and do amazing movies while
Yeah.
you're sick. And then all that speculation about why he lost so much weight
Yeah.
and how media and people are cruel
just
and
jump on it
it's like,
and
oh,
speculate.
drugs, this,
and,
that's like, dude, he
yeah, and
was
he
dying.
was dying from cancer.
He was dying.
Well, shout out Chadwick Boseman. Great
Yes.
actor, great contributor to obviously the MCU, but also lessons to be learned
Yes.
for all of us. Another one we can transition into, I mean, Jeremy Renner.
Yes.
I mean, you talk about like, so the full story there, I know we've talked about it, was his nephew or someone was trapped under a snowmobile.
Yeah, he was doing a good thing.
He was trying to help
He
someone.
was trying to help someone, and he has a tractor.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm gonna go get my tractor, which is just so weird to me, New York City person.
Yeah.
Right. And he's gonna go try and help in some weird catastrophic accident where it rolls on
it
him.
almost like the e-brake, almost when you're driving a car on a hill or something, that extra brake to lock it in, like apparently like came
And
loose.
he like 31 bones.
Yeah.
The fact that he's not dead in and of itself is amazing. Shows that he really is a superhero.
I was gonna say
he really is a superhero. He's like the best superhero. I told you that.
So my history with Hawkeye, I questioned him from the beginning. Guy with a bow and arrow. I had a student tell me, well, he fights people like Thanos with a bow and arrow.
Right.
That's kind of pretty badass.
Yes.
So let's just go from there then. I know we've done this before, but just to clarify now, your defense. Let's go with Hawkeye. Jeremy Renner,
yes.
Superhero, great individual. Hawkeye, your defense of Hawkeye, as you're saying the best?
Yes. I'm saying the best because he steps up in a situation against superheroes, super weaponry, super evil, and he's just a dude with a bow and arrow. Yeah. He has no suit to protect him, at least that I recall in the very beginning. I think when he became Ronin,
yes,
he had some other stuff going on, like in regards to like body armor, but he was just a dude in clothes, right? Fighting all this super evil, protecting the world because he's got a good moral compass.
I guess like that's where I think I'm guilty of, like, I'm very surface sometimes when I look at these. Like, I'm not as smart as you or Sweeney or the students here, right, who dig deep, because I just see, like, if I want a superhero, I want someone who can fly or do something. But so I was underwhelmed by it. But yes, upon deeper look,
the deeper look, like is he's not the most, he's by far not the most popular MCU guy at all. Like, there's so many people love to hate on him because he's the dude with the bow and arrow, but he's a family man. Like, he's got so many other things. Like, comparing him to Tony Stark. Yeah. Or Tony Stark is all ego and money, right? And a suit. And Tony Stark is brilliant. Like, that's when we compare MCU to DC and Tony Stark and Batman. Yeah. It's like, I am not a fan of the Batman, which makes everybody angry. Although I am a fan of the Batgirl because she is and was a librarian. Okay. So that's, no bias. Yes, no bias at all. But at least Tony is the designer of everything, whereas Batman is just the background.
Yeah, someone. Yeah, that's fair. Now, here's my pushback on Clint as a family man, because this is like the big thing with him, right? There's a couple of things. One, at the beginning of this, he just sends his kids on a plane because he has to go do this thing in New York. Even before that, he totally leaves them in New York City to go and do these things. Now he's got a young kid. He's got an older kid who can kind of oversee it, but
watch the baby.
He quickly just totally leaves his family, his children, not even his family, just his children to be, sends him back home, which that was better. But maybe more controversial, I think he's just permanently in love with Natasha. That, like, he probably, I don't know enough about his wife. His wife, they reveal some things at the end, like getting the Rolex in the show, that she was like potentially an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. or something. So there's something there. I don't want to totally judge their relationship, but I feel like he was always in love with Natasha and never let it go. As he's in one of these episodes, he's at, like, there's a plaque commemorating the Battle of New York, and he's talking to her, but he's just talking at the plaque itself. I think that's part of it. I think he's always just, his family life is covering up this love for Natasha that he lost.
Like, I can see that. I absolutely can see that. But I'm not sure if I agree 100%, because I feel like if he was and still is in love with Natasha, he would have kept her away from the family. Yeah. Or she was close to the wife because the wife talked about Natasha. Yeah. And Natasha knew the kids. Like, she was ingrained.
She was a part of it
in their life as well. And so, like, but I do see it. I do see that. I just don't know how much I agree with it. Like, I feel like they were more like sibling-ish. Yeah. Like my best friend, my best friend, or my sister, my best friend kind of deal. Partner in crime. Know my secrets.
Did they ever really go into? I feel like there's this passing reference to Budapest, but like, is that ever unearthed exactly? So what I'm speculating based on, like, just the feeling of it, but there's never a scene where they are romantically connected, or even like what their relationship truly is.
Exactly. Something happened in Budapest, and all I know is I forget which movie it was, and she said something like quirky about oh, this is just like Budapest. And he looks at her and goes, you and I remember Budapest really differently.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's never revealed.
yeah, I have, and I'm like, the Black Widow movie.
Yeah.
Why? It was the past. It was a past.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't we
There was
talk
a
about
lot
Budapest?
that could
Why
have been
couldn't you tell us what
uncovered there.
happened?
Yeah.
And then in this whole series, why couldn't we have a flashback? So that
Just something
we-
that fills it in a little
just
bit.
what happened?
Yeah, no, I think that's totally fair. And I think that is maybe it's too unresolved with
Yeah,
parts of it.
100%.
To your idea that he's like the least respected or loved Avenger, I'm looking at my notes here. It was so funny. They've the post credit scene of this show, the last episode, is the full musical number from Rogers the Musical, which, like, by the way, I think they're performing at Disneyland. Like, they're actually going to do performances of it. And it's just so funny because it's ridiculous. And I'm trying to think, there's a line and it's like, and like, Hawkeye is a really good guy. It's just like this vague description of, while Hawkeye seems cool, like a really nice guy. Like, that's all they have to say. Where the other ones, they're like,
Yes.
you know, waxing poetic about their
And
superhero.
one thing about that whole musical scene is, like, you look at his face and how I don't for what they say about him aside, just like the mockery
Yeah.
of
Of
all
his
they
life,
did,
this thing.
all they lost,
Yeah.
and now it's a Broadway musical.
Yeah.
And
A
not
really bad one,
a
too.
campy, like,
Yeah.
it's like, really? And it's like, you could see it in his face. It's like, this is what we're boiled down to.
Yeah.
Some 3-minute number.
Yeah,
on
this
Broadway. It's
terrible
just
musical.
horrible.
Side note, have you actually seen there's some type of like Christian megachurch that like uses the Avengers like to teach the gospel?
Oh no.
And it's through musical form.
my
Look it up, or I'll
I
share
have-
it with you.
yes,
And it
yes.
is like Iron Man's like on a cross. It's like so bad, but it's like literally trying. You know, it's like I don't know, trying to
speak to
appeal.
somebody.
Like I know,
I don't know, but
religion's
Iron
kind of
Man-
on the way out. Not a
Iron Man's not the cross guy.
no, definitely
If-
not.
Like, if you're gonna pick up someone to emulate Jesus, it's Rogers.
Yeah,
Iron Man, absolutely.
It's
not.
so funny though. You gotta. I will share that with you because
That's
I was
kinda
like, this
funny.
can't be real.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this show.
So, full disclosure of the show, I watched
Yes.
it when it first came out and did not do a rewatch.
Do you have a memory of when you watched it? Do you like? Is it hard for you with like the love of Clint to then fairly judge this?
Yeah, you know what? I will say I like the show because of Clint.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, because I haven't rewatched it, my memory is not the
Yeah.
best. So I'm like, it couldn't have been that great, Arlen, if you're not
If
running
nothing
to
sticks out.
rewatch it, because like the Amazon Prime show Jack Reacher.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan of the book character Reacher. I think it's like awesome.
yeah,
And Alan Richardson, I think is his name. He's the actor who plays Reacher. I think he did a phenomenal job.
yeah.
And he's really cute, really easy on the eyes. I have watched that series. It came out last year, February. I must have watched it 4 times already. And it's just because the action, the story, and everything just came together well. I've only watched the Hawkeye series once.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, I was going to rewatch it for the 27th so that I'm fresh. And I was like, maybe. Then I didn't.
Or not.
Yes.
I don't think you need to rewatch it. I think there's another one that's just kind of
Yeah.
meh. Like
It
it's
was okay. It
mediocre.
was
It's
fun.
okay. I'm
You
torn on
know?
like. So I see what they're doing with getting the younger people involved because you need the future generation.
Right.
But if you're giving me a show about Hawkeye, I'd like a show about Hawkeye.
Mm-hmm.
Even give me more about. I mean, Ronin would be a whole other show.
Yeah.
But give me more on that to like get in the teenager and like
Right.
when we recorded the first episode, I had a student EO on. And I was able to predict what was going to happen. He was going to get home for Christmas. It was going to be wacky hijinks,
Right.
buddy cop type thing with him
Nothing
and Kate.
surprising, nothing exciting. It's just the action scenes that I recall, they were fun.
Yeah,
Like to see, you know, I like when a superhero can kick a bad guy's ass.
Yeah.
For lack of a better
Yeah,
word.
absolutely.
I like the teenage girl.
yeah,
One of the things which goes back to what you said about him and his being a father and it's like, dude, you're building this relationship with this young teenage girl, but you have a teenage daughter.
yeah,
You know, and that hurts me to say because I am a huge fan. It's just like You have your daughter.
You have one right there.
could
But
do
maybe it's
this.
too close. He doesn't want. He barely wants Kate to get into this
Right.
life. To then, he
Right.
wouldn't have his own daughter do it. There's a couple of things, just even like, I always think of as plot holes or things that are just like sloppy that, like, they go through this whole thing where he just builds all these arrows and he has access to this lab and all this stuff. I'm like, where the hell is this? He was just in New York for Christmas with his kids. That's it. He wasn't there on this mission. He got pulled into this. And now he has access where he's making these insane weapons in some laboratory that's not explained. Like things like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's just too like.
It's the MCU.
We're just gonna cut it.
We have underground labs everywhere.
Yeah, you can always just access them. So I didn't love that. The Russians,
Right.
the tracksuit Russians or tracksuit guys, which literally, like, that's what they call them,
Yes.
the tracksuit
yes,
guys,
yes,
which is
yes.
also
You see,
like
you're
really.
I'm like, oh, I remember those.
Yeah.
And it's like, I have no idea what you're talking about for a minute. Like, what?
Who
Which
are-
guys? But yes, I remember the tracksuit
But they're
guys.
all so wacky. They're like talking with Kate about buying my girlfriend's mad at me because I got Imagine Dragon tickets or something. It's just like there's a comedian, Dan Soder, in this.
Right.
The
It's like
bit that he came up for is that Russians are the scariest white people. That like a Russian, like you don't know what you're gonna get. Like you're
Right.
kinda not too sure. And we see this in movies and things. And then here. They're like just clowns. Like
Right.
if they're the bad guys, I can't have wacky bad guys.
Right. And that's one of the issues with Marvel overall. It's like
It's too wacky.
there are certain things that I really like about Marvel when they throw the one-liners and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and it breaks the tension. And there's the scenes in some of the movies where you got that yes moment where everybody screams like the hammer scene.
Yeah.
And then it's like this Marvel, I get it's not realistic, right? These superheroes don't exist. But I need a little bit of realism
Yeah.
to get me deeper invested into it. If when you get to that clownish,
Yeah.
it's like
It's too much, and that's definitely the way
It
they're
takes you
trending.
out.
I feel like I haven't seen Guardians yet, but I
Yeah.
feel like that. I mean, Guardians.
Guardians
that's kind
does
of
it a lot.
Guardians does it, but that's like at least from the jump that was there. Like
That's
that was
their
who they
shtick.
were.
Yes,
that
that's
was.
their shtick.
But like
And that's
even
might be a reason. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No.
That might be a reason why I have so much trouble with Guardians, aside from my
It's
whole
too-
Chris Pratt hate.
yeah. Why
It's
Chris Pratt? Why?
peak.
Why?
Well, there's a whole lot. He's just a horrible person.
Oh wow.
He really is a horrible human. He's divorced from his first wife,
Faris?
Anna Faris.
Yeah.
They had a child together who was special needs, and then he had a child with his new wife, who is Arnold Schwarzenegger's kid.
Okay.
And he posted on social media, Instagram, Twitter, whichever, about how wonderful it is to have these. I'm paraphrasing
Yeah.
completely, but it was more like she gave me
Oh.
a normal child.
Yeah.
Like, but those were not the exact.
Which is
words.
also like it's a shot at the kid. It's a shot
Yeah,
at the
the
mother of
it,
your
It was just like,
child.
dude,
Yeah, that's a little too
dude,
much.
like, let's pretend as a parent you even think that. Those
Yeah.
words never come out of your mouth.
Yeah.
Ever. Like, oh my
Forget on
God.
social media for the world
You
to see.
know, and then there is this whole thing right now that's being talked about, and I got as a librarian, I need to do more research about his brother is a part of a white supremacist hate group.
Really?
Yeah, so it's just like there's a whole
It's a
lot
lot.
of
His tangled
ugly,
web behind
and
him.
his whole entanglement with these an evangelical religion church and their hate for the LGBTQ community.
Wow.
It's like there's a whole lot of
It's
ugly
a lot. I
attack
was
with
not
him.
aware. The Anna Faris
Yes.
thing that jogs my memory, but I heard
Yes.
that something
And it's
interesting.
just like, dude, the whole Marvel universe is about acceptance.
yeah,
Period. Just acceptance.
up and down, across. That's
And
it.
you are exhibiting in your outside life total and complete unacceptance.
Yeah.
It's like that's a problem.
Wow. Well, good
and
to
he's
know.
just an idiot.
I'll have to do my background. Well, someone you
Yes,
do love
I do.
is Jeremy Renner,
Yes, I do.
who's in Hawkeye.
And he's also a movie I highly recommend with Jeremy Renner. Ooh,
He was
Native Americans. Wind River.
I have not seen that. I don't
Wind
know if
River.
I've heard of that.
It's a hard movie to watch.
Okay.
It's about Native American violence and the lack of anything getting done, violence against women.
Oh wow.
It's women who go missing. It's really, really good. It's rated R.
Good but heavy.
Yes, it's rated R, kids. So just know that going in.
There's your warning.
Yeah, it is. It's really heavy. But I've only watched it once because it was too.
Because that's all you can do.
Yeah, it was too hard to watch.
Yeah. So this, yeah, it didn't do anything for me. It was convoluted. There's a lot. I have this whole list. It's another show where there's too much going on. So this is the list of who's fighting each other in this.
Okay, go ahead.
There's Clint and Kate versus the tracksuit guys, the Russians. There's Kate and her mom.
Okay.
There's Kate and her mom and her boyfriends all in this web. There's the mom and Kingpin, who, by the way, Vincent D'Onofrio is great as Kingpin.
I love Vincent
Good performance. Great, really big villain character within, I guess now the MCU.
Really good
yeah,
as
looks really good. And
Kingpin,
I even want to know more about, because I know very little just from comic books when I was a kid, but he seems indestructible. Like he gets shot at. But anyway, Mom versus Kingpin, which then becomes Kate versus Kingpin. There's Yelena, who we'll talk about, versus Clint. There's Maya, who's the deaf woman, versus Kazi, her brother. And then there's Maya versus Ronan. All of those things happen in 6 episodes. That's 2, 4, 6,
I need to rewatch this because
7
so much stuff happened that I don't
that's
remember it.
too
So what does that
much.
tell you?
7.
I don't remember.
It's but that's also
all
that
of it.
jack of all trades, master of none thing.
Right.
Like when you need to spread that all out, that means you don't have one good story. There's way too many.
That's too
There's
much
6
going
episodes,
on.
by the way, and they almost come in thirds. Like the first thirds are in the first 2 episodes. Then the next ones are in the second 2, and the next ones are the one after that. Now, we talked about before we start recording, Yelena.
Yes, I like Yelena's character.
She's excellent. A great continuation of who she was in Black Widow. We talked about the post-credit scene in Black Widow, how I'll just call her Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
And I call her Elaine.
Elaine Bennis. Who is still mysterious. She is in Wakanda forever. She seems to be this side
I feel like she is.
She recruits John Walker, everyone's most hated Captain America from Captain and the Winter Soldier, to have this kind of side team who's doing bad things.
No, that wasn't Captain Winter Soldier. Oh yeah, that was a TV show.
In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he's the replacement Captain
yes,
America.
yes.
He's so bad. Everyone hated that guy.
Oh my God, he was horrible. He was a killer.
So she brings him on, and at the end of the post-credit scene of Black Widow, she deceives Yelena by showing her Natasha's grave. She goes, the person who did this is Clint Barton.
He's the reason
and
why
then it goes from there.
She didn't lie.
But he didn't
she
kill her.
misguided her.
Yes, it wasn't
he's
the murder.
He's not the reason why she died, because Natasha chose to die.
Yeah, someone needed to die to get the Soul Stone.
And I still think they could bring her back. I don't care what anybody
Well,
says.
that's what's so frustrating is that she is the only one who can't come back. Technically, for all this multiverse and for all this, she's the clear cut
She's
and
the
dry.
one that can't come back. I figure it's because Scarlett Johansson made such a public thing about, I think, her salary.
Yeah,
and that she's not coming back.
She's not welcome. But Yelena's great.
She's a
the scene where she gets
character.
blipped, she goes to the bathroom.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, this little
5 years
transformation happens, and then
later.
she walks out, and the house is totally different, and the person there. I think for all the times we see anything with the blip or the snap, it was really good. That was really well done. Out of all the times they've done it, explained it or showed it, that was because you got the experience of someone who it really was.
Yes.
It gives great context for the term blip.
Yes.
Because it really was she's looking in a mirror, and then there's just this
and then she's
shift,
back, and it's
and then she's back, and that's literally all it was. So I think Yelena is one of the top parts of this. I think she continues that talk about wacky. She's funny without being wacky. She brings a comedic element while also being serious.
It's that sarcasm and all. I like a good sarcastic person.
But then other wackiness, the LARPers. Remember they go in this? You go into Central Park. They're the live action role players. Oh. They're doing the fighting.
Yes.
All of a sudden, by the end of it, they're a
too.
tactical team. By the end of it, they're running interference and doing. These are clowns who are fighting with wooden swords in Central Park.
The role players.
And now they're literally a tactical team.
So
it's
what
come on.
happens is now at New York City and San Diego Comic-Con, you've got all these cosplayers who are going to think, I could fight.
I can do this. Oh, it was so bad. That's another one of those it was so unnecessary.
Yes,
it
was.
If you wanted them to be there, and they do help him out in some ways, but the fact that by the end they're running interference and running this mission is crazy. It's just crazy.
If you wanted it to be that, then you needed to show them LARPing as well as that they really were.
They knew their stuff.
You know, they were proficient in sword
No, they were
play.
just like wacky.
Yes.
They were just these goofy like losers. Like that's what like when you think
Not
of
losers.
LARPers, it's like no, they're losers. They
no.
were portrayed as losers.
Yeah, but
100%.
But that's a bad thing for them to portray LARPers that way because they're just a good fan base. You know, it's like you shouldn't mock your fan base either.
I know.
Like you think about it. Like those LARPers are the people
the ones
who keep the MCU
That's true.
to the forefront. It's like Star Wars cosplays.
Yes.
And people they are the reason. Like I'm glad Sweeney's
well,
not here.
They kept the boat afloat.
Yes,
forever.
like Sweeney's not here to murder me. I remember when Star Wars came out 40 years ago. I was online around the corner waiting, saw it 15 times the year it came out, because you could afford to see a movie 15 times back then. But it became a classic, and the reason why it's still so is it's a good flick. Special effects aren't great anymore. Like when my kids watched it originally, they were like,
yeah,
really?
This is the movie. Yeah.
But you've got a fan base like Sweeney and the cosplayers and all those people who their energy keeps it alive. And those LARPers keep it alive so that other people, like, I will make fun of someone who's, you know, not only, I will tease, not necessarily make fun of, but tease. But I will be impressed with their devotion and dedication. Like, Sweeney's knowledge in Star Wars is probably better than George Lucas. Like, he knows stuff that he probably doesn't because he is that fan base.
Yeah. And they are not.
So they shouldn't, like, it's kind of mean.
But the idea of them playing any type of crucial role is just bad writing. It's just not like there's no need for it. The one big positive, and I can leave on this one, in addition to the one-eyed dog is to me the best part of the movie, the show. But the other good part, and I have a long quote I'm going to read. This is what Kate says to Clint. When I was younger, aliens invaded, and I was alone, and I was terrified. But then I saw you fighting aliens with a stick and a string. I saw you jump from that building, even though you can't fly, even though you don't have superpowers, and I thought, if he could do that, then I don't have to be scared. You showed me that being a hero isn't just for people who can fly or shoot lasers out of their hands. It's for anyone who's brave enough to do what's right, no matter the cost.
And there you go.
And that's it. That is a great synopsis, and that's a message.
Who he is.
And the inspiration, you know, to be able to inspire this young person who, by the way, like, whose father was killed in this, and then, like, that was another great part. I think it's even if it's not the very first scene of episode 1, it's showing the Battle of New York when they're in this apartment and then the walls get blown out, which is forever, as long as we've been doing this, my favorite thing is from the Avengers and the Battle of New York, just the regular people of New York and what was happening to them on this day. And that shows a good example. And I guess that's a perfect final thing to share because that's Clint. That's Clint. It, right?
Exactly. He's the guy who's going to do the right thing, even against a villain that he should lose against.
Yeah.
Right? He should lose against. And he's fighting alongside, you know, people who,
you got a god, you got a super soldier.
And even Spider-Man, right?
Yeah.
Spider-Man has his suit. Like, Spider-Man's 16, but Spider-Man has a super suit. He's got webbing. He's got this. He's got that. I would give Clint and Spider-Man, I mean, Tom Holland is and Spider-Man is just everybody's like number one.
Yeah.
But he's like Spider-Man. Like, he doesn't have, like, you think about Peter's story. He became a superhero with a, you know, he got bit by a spider.
Yeah, just pure accident.
And then he chose to do the right thing by
thrust into action based on some tragedy in his life and doing the right thing with it.
And doing the right thing. And while it gave him super strength and stuff like that, he didn't become a bully, even though he was bullied. He didn't become a bad guy, even though there was bad people around him. Like Clint and him are, I'm just going to do the right thing.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know, I equate Peter to him because he's so young. So much easier to use that to get what I want. I think about all the turmoil he went through in school, right? But he was a good kid.
Yeah. And I guess this simplifies it down to, you know, sometimes I try to catch myself from saying really corny things, especially being a teacher and talking to young people all the time. But this is like anyone can be a superhero, right? The idea of
Yes.
if you do the right thing at any time, right? Doing the right thing is always at the top of the list, right? It can be the hardest thing to do. It, at the very least, isn't easy, but when you do the right thing,
it's like the Harry Potter quote with Dumbledore. It's easy. How hard is it with the choices? It's the choices the choices we make tell you people who you are. I butchered the quote. It's been a while, but it's choices. Everybody can do the right thing. It's like sometimes you do the right thing, do something easy. That's the other one. Do something easy or do the right thing.
Yeah.
Choose to do the right thing.
Even when it's the harder thing.
Even when it's not easy.
That's it. Well, I think we did it.
Yes, we did.
Okay, very nice. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We are the 27. We're coming towards the end of the school year.
Yes,
So you can still find us on Instagram at the 27THHS. You can find us on the Classic YouTube channel. This will be up there shortly. Thank you to our producer, Irene. Let's see, Irene's birthday just passed this week. So happy birthday, Irene.
Even though she forgot sweet tarts. I'm just saying.
That's true. Since we last recorded, Irene, can I share your college news? We talked about that. Irene will be going to BU in the fall, so congratulations on that. Only a few short weeks away from graduating. So shout out, Irene. Thank you, Rajvi, for our video editing, and for everyone for listening.
Yes.
I'm sure we'll get you back on before the end of the school year. We're going to have a real for all the episodes we've missed. We're really going to try to cram a lot in these next 5 weeks.
What are your
So we still got to do those 3 movies, but then TV shows. I don't know. Do we have much plans? Like we talked about a couple different things.
Because I haven't watched any.
Because we're not doing She-Hulk.
She-Hulk has some good. I only watched a couple of She-Hulks. I'm not even going to pretend.
Yeah.
Only watched a couple of She-Hulks.
Maybe we do maybe we could condense kind of an overview of the one episode on a show just to see.
Like a compendium
A couple
of
other
all
ones.
the episodes.
Miss Marvel, is that a show? I think Miss Marvel.
Is she a show?
Is that a show? Irene and I talked about this. There's the teenage.
Oh yes, Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
She's a comic book. Yes, I have that in the library. But with the She-Hulk, I would love for you to talk about how all the misogynistic men in the world were triggered by her.
Okay. That sounds like a good one for you to come on and talk about.
That trigger was like, you need to relax.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah, you'll be okay. She can kick your ass. It's okay. You'll survive.
That's fine. Well, we'll be doing all of those things as we wind down Season 2 of the 27. Miss Laverde, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we will see everyone next week on the 27. Take care.